going to play with my catalyst today. A catalyst is that silicone wedge that you see right there to the left. I got it as part of my design team order from a Cherry on Top, and I'm super excited to play with it. So I created 3 or 4 backgrounds all at the same time with this catalyst. This is actually the 3rd background that I created, but it will be the first background that you see. And then there's one more coming up that I have a video for. The 3rd background I didn't shoot a video for because it was the first one I did and I was just playing. So I want to create, so this is the background paper from Prima's Fruit Paradise collection. I am going to start by giving myself a nice thick white base down on the cardstock, and then I can layer it on. You do need a nice thick cardstock for this to work well. This Prima pattern paper was very nice and thick and heavy, so it took the mediums wonderfully. But I would definitely not use a pattern paper that is on the thin side. So the trick with the catalyst is that you want to put on layers. If you're using acrylic paint, then your dogs will bark. No. So I am using Prima Impasto paint, and it dries super quickly, which is fabulous for this technique. I'm trying to create something that looks like a sunburst. That's my plan for this. So I'm going to use the yellow, but I want to dull it down just a smidge. I want it to be brighter yellow. So we're taking a collection and we're taking products that would normally be considered kind of heritage, and by adding this, by jazzing up this background and by adding this little bit of bright yellow, this is going to become a summer page, a warm summer page with a picture of my nephew and not a page of, and not a heritage page. And so because that first layer of white impasto paint has dried, that means that this kind of second layer that I'm putting on will be a bit messy, and it'll be a bit, it'll catch all of the texture from the white paint. And you can see how easy this is to do. It's literally just smudge. So you put the paint on the Catalyst Silicone Wedge tool, and then you just get, you can do corners. I'm just using the corner, or you can just use an edge. Really fun. I totally like this for a couple of reasons. One, it's not a lot of water. Acrylic paint is not a water-based paint at all, which means, well, it might be a water-based paint, but it dries super fast. It's really nice and thick, and it's really easy. I felt like this was not a super messy thing. Like, I didn't feel like I was spraying water all over everything. Another fun thing, because it dries fast, you end up with a background that you can use practically immediately. And if it should warp, mine didn't warp too much. I just left it overnight underneath the book. And it was, by the time I went to photograph it the next day, it was completely flat. So that's really nice. So you can see here that the trick is to layer. So I put on the white, then I put on the yellow, then I want to dial back that yellow just a little bit. So I'm going to add some more white. And you just go ahead and you add layers of color until you like what you have created. So there are lots of techniques. You can make like cool grass with this. You can just smudge it onto your page. I just thought it was a really fun tool, and I wanted to practice with one and play with one. And yeah, so this is the 3rd background I made, and by the 3rd background I had a pretty good idea of what I was doing. I kind of understood how the wedge worked. I definitely would say that right out of the box you can create a background. I created a background right out of the box, and it's totally usable. You'll probably see that on my Instagram once I make it into an actual page. But for this particular, this was the 3rd one I made. So I'm still kind of learning, but I love it. It's so fun. So I'm kind of blending out the edges of my little starbursty type pattern here. I don't want it to be harsh. I don't want the edges to be harsh, but I know that I don't want it to go much past that purple tape, which is why I put it there, because I didn't want more than half the paper to be covered with the paint. So once I was happy with that one side, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to add a little bit of that deeper, brighter yellow to the top of this pattern paper. I'm going to add just the, just to jazz it up a bit, just so that there's a little bit of yellow on both edges. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start creating, well, no, I'm going to let this sit and dry thoroughly. Forgot that step. And then after it's all dry and everything's cleaned up, then I'm going to come back in and we'll create our layout. So you can see here again, just layers. A little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, a little bit more white to mix in with the yellow until I have a nice area up at the top with that brighter yellow in it. So I'm going to make creating the layout a little bit quicker because I don't want this video to be ridiculously long, but I definitely wanted to show you how I created that mixed media background. So you can see there, it's completely dry, it's ready to go, and now I'm just going to start by pulling some 6x6 papers. I fidgeted around with this layout way longer than I needed to because this was the first layout that I created with the Prima Fruit Paradise collection, and I was kind of lost at first. I had so much good stuff to play with, and I just wasn't sure how I wanted to do that. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to mount my photo, but I'm only going to mount it a little bit just with that kind of neutral paper. And the only reason I'm even doing that is because I want to pop it up a little bit on some foam tape so I can work around the photo. So I started with some larger ephemera pieces, and I created 3 clusters. I want one cluster to be around my photo, one there at the bottom right, and then up in the upper right. And then I'm also going to put a little tear and do a little bit up at the upper left as well. But you'll see that. So now I am looking for some pieces that I can use to layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up using quite a few of these 3x4 cards that I bought from the pad. I'm so sorry for the background noise. I'm trying really hard to I keep pausing the video and be like, guys, I'm doing a voiceover, shh. But you know my boys love me and they're sorry that they made noise in the background. So I'm going to continue here, and this is where I decide, okay, I'm happy with the 3 clusters, but I feel like there needs to be something up in that dead area. And I know that white space is good, but I feel like that's too much white space, maybe. And so I know that I want to add something up there, but I want it to be really subtle. So I'm just going to go ahead here. I decide I need a place to do some journaling because I do have actually a good bit of journaling. And see, I think about putting that up there, but no, I don't like the way that looks. And like I said, I fidget so much because I almost had too many embellishments and too many products to play with. And that happens to me a lot. Is anyone else like that? Like, I find I make the best layouts and I make my best decisions when my products are limited. I'm very much a limited product scrapbooker. I'm not super okay with, I had all the embellishments and all the paper pads for this collection, and I love them all, and I'm glad that I got them all, but at the same time, I'm like, the first couple layouts are always just hard. So I'm taking this 3x4 card, and you can see what I'm going to do here. Just add a little something up at the top. I went ahead and I attached it to the back of my photo, of my page, and then I'm just going to tear away some of it to create a little bit of a tear away up there at the top. And it's very subtle, and it just but it also kind of pulls that corner in, so it doesn't look like that area of my layout is just flying off into space. So now I'm going to continue to tuck and stick and kind of decide where I want these pieces to go. So the whole idea behind this layout is that there is an acrylic circle that says the apple of my eye. And I want to play off of that. So I'm kind of picking through and creating, grabbing things that are either that lovely yellow or apples. And those are the products I'm kind of pulling to go ahead and create my clusters with. So in an effort to continue to kind of brighten up some of that yellow, pops of yellow on my page, and to bring the color that I added to the background into the foreground, I am using some vintage photo and also some fossilized amber distress inks, and I'm using that around all of the edges. This is distress oxide ink, which when it comes to edging things, I find them to be completely interchangeable. So And then I'm just going to go ahead and start to add my layers. I'm going to put some of these up with pop dots. I'm going to add my title, or not my title, my date to that little label. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start sticking all of these clusters down. Again, popping some edges up, adding some Distress ink to some of the edges. So I added my journaling right there on the photo, and I decided to grab a brown, like a brown pen to do my journaling instead of a black one. Now there are some black splatters on this background, and I'm going to boost them up, but not until after I turn the camera off. So after I was done with this layout and I walked away and came back to it the next morning, I was like, you know what, this needs something. And so what I did was I added some black splatters, and you'll see those in the close-ups. So right now I'm just having a minute to clean up. I need to clear my desk and clear my mind and decide what else this layout needs. And so I'm going to go ahead and add the acrylic pieces. There's that apple that says apple of my eye, and it's so shiny. It's kind of might even be hard to see because it's going to glare a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another acrylic heart up to the top there. And I thought about putting one that said cutie up there, but I decided against it. Now these are the flat embossed stickers, and I'm going to go ahead and add a few of those to my clusters as well. They're like a nice matte gold, and I just think they're really nice, and there's so many stickers in that pack. And I'm going to go ahead and tuck one of those up under that torn edge. Sorry for my head and my crazy frizzy hair. And then I add a little apple sticker too, just to reinforce that apple motif I have going on. And the last little thing I'm going to add is this apple puffy sticker. And then I think this layout is complete. Like I said, the next morning I did go ahead and I grabbed some, I do add a star or a heart for the puffy stickers too. Those puffy stickers are so fun, but like I said, I have so many embellishments. So that'll complete this layout, and you'll see the black splatters that I added the next morning in the close-ups. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!